Hey everyone! Quick update before we dive into the session. Elevenlabs seems to be coming down hard on us again, so the blocked voices now consist of Saxys, Tronalds, and even my own voice. But you know me, no matter how many times these hurdles pop up, I'll always be working on ways around them to keep the story going for you. Also, I've pretty much been on my deathbed most of this week with a sky-high fever, so it's been a bit of a struggle to say the least. But we pulled through and got this episode ready. So, let's jump right in. All right then, Tronald, let's start with you. What do you want to do?
All right, so reflect yourself, blind yourself, offer yourself. I keep turning this over in my head, Joe, trying to figure out what it actually means. It sounds like one of those annoyingly cryptic riddles. Reflect yourself. That could mean looking inward, like trying to see who I really am, or maybe even a literal mirror. Or is it some kind of magical reflection? Maybe something that forces me to confront something about myself? Then there's blind yourself. That could be a metaphor, like letting go of my senses, or even closing my eyes to try and see something beyond sight. And offer yourself. That sounds almost like a sacrifice, or even just throw myself into something without holding back. So I guess my gut tells me it's about looking inward, maybe not just physically, but mentally. But that's all I've got right now, Joe. This thing is vague as hell.
All right then, are you going to try anything?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. First, I'm going to make sure the door is locked. Don't need any interruptions. Then I'll grab a piece of cloth, sit myself down in front of the mirror, and wrap the cloth over my eyes. I'll sit there, focusing, trying to push through, no holding back.
You sit there, blindfolded in front of the mirror. Minutes pass in silence. 5 minutes. 10. Nothing happens. You're just sitting there, listening to the faint sounds of the ship around you. No visions, no mysterious revelations.
All right, let's take this up a notch. I reach into my bag, fingers brushing against cold steel, before I pull out a small blade. Without a second thought, I press the edge against my palm and drag it across, feeling the sharp bite as the skin splits. It's deep enough to let the blood flow, warm and fast, pooling in my fist. I hold my hand over the floor, letting the blood drip down in thick, dark drops, each one splattering softly against the silence. I squeeze harder, feeling the sting sharpen, focusing everything on that sensation, that offering. The pain is just there, grounding me, but I push it back, clearing my mind. I close my eyes under the blindfold, shutting out everything else, and focus, harder than before, like I'm trying to push through a wall, break something open inside myself. Come on, I think, willing something, anything, to answer.
Give me an Arcana check, Tronald.
So that's a 12, but I'm going to use lucky. Nice, that's a 25 total.
You sit there, breath slow and steady, the blindfold pressing into your skin, sealing you in complete darkness. Minutes tick by, stretching out into an empty, silent eternity. Just the slow thud of your heartbeat and the faint sting in your hand where blood still trickles, sticky and warm against your fingers. Then, something shifts. It's so subtle, almost imperceptible, a prickle against your skin, like the air has thickened, changed texture around you. A chill runs down your spine, icy and electric, and suddenly you feel as if you're not alone. The darkness behind the blindfold seems to thin, peeling back in delicate, smoky layers, as if something is trying to pull away the veil between you and elsewhere. And that's when you see it, the mist. That same endless, twisting fog, drifting forward like a silent tide, rolling in as if summoned by the very beat of your heart. Your mind stumbles, confused. Your eyes are closed, covered by the blindfold. You know you're sitting in that small, empty room, and yet the fog is there, filling your vision, thick and heavy, swallowing the edges of reality. Then, in the middle of the fog, it happens. The mist parts, splitting open like a seam torn through shadow, revealing a narrow path leading through the swirling haze. The edges of the path are ragged, constantly shifting, as if the fog itself is alive, resisting being pulled apart, but the path is clear, unmistakable, cutting forward into a tunnel of smoke that beckons you deeper.
I want to slowly make my way down the mist tunnel, Joe. Do I have control of my body? Because I know I'm not actually here and whatnot.
Yeah, you have full control over your body. If anything, it feels more empowered than your usual physical state.
Then I go forward, step by step, keeping an eye out for anything suspicious.
Give me a perception check then, Tronald.
That's a 15.
You step forward, cautious, each footfall muffled by the swirling fog which closes behind you like a curtain, sealing you into this strange, silent world. The mist coils around you, thick and weighty, yet there's something unexpectedly inviting about it. You reach out almost instinctively, fingertips brushing through the dense haze. It doesn't feel cold like you expected. Instead, there's a strange warmth to it. Not warmth like fire or flesh, but something deeper. Euphoric, maybe. Like the faint, lingering memory of something once loved. The fog slips through your fingers like silk, leaving a trace of that quiet, inexplicable comfort. You push on, each step drawing you deeper into the mist-bound path. The shadows shift, the dim light casting strange shapes in the fog, until something begins to emerge through the swirling gray. At first, it's just a faint outline, barely discernible, a form solidifying ahead, dark against the mist. But as you get closer, you start to make out more. A structure, not made of mist, but stone and wood, grounded and real, right in the middle of this surreal dreamscape. It's small, unassuming, but with the kind of quiet charm that draws you in. You notice details, the arch of the roof, the wood beams aged and solid, the stone walls dusted with patches of moss. A house, nestled in what feels like a forest, though the trees are half lost in the haze. There's a flicker of familiarity, like a faint echo in your mind. Something about this place. It tugs at a memory. Something you thought you'd left behind long ago.
Is there a way I can dig deeper here, focus, or, I don't know, maybe let the memory come to me? It's right there, I can feel it, like a name on the tip of my tongue.
You can give me either a flat history check or an intelligence check with advantage.
I'm gonna go with the advantage. Yeah, okay, so that's a 19 total, Joe.
All right, Tronald, so. With that 19, the memory stirs like a soft ripple on the surface of a deep, still pond, spreading outward until it fills every corner of your mind. This cottage, this small, simple structure nestled in the woods, it's not just a place. It's a piece of you. And suddenly, you remember it all with aching clarity. You see the front steps, barely wide enough for two, but they used to be crowded with laughter and bare feet, two young boys bounding down them with wild, untamed joy. Your sons. Their laughter echoes through your mind now, haunting and beautiful, like music that's been lost for far too long. They used to run here from the main house, sneaking away when they thought no one was looking, eyes bright with the thrill of escape. They'd laugh, heads thrown back, voices carrying through the trees. You remember watching from a distance, unseen, smiling to yourself as they played in the dirt, in the shadows of trees that never judged them or demanded anything from them. Inside, you'd built it to be as simple as possible, just a few rooms, a hearth, and enough space to feel like the world couldn't touch them. No politics, no duties, no weight of your name pressing down on their young shoulders, just freedom. A rare thing in Solaris, especially for the sons of a man like you. You wanted them to have that, to feel what it was like to be just boys, unburdened by who they'd have to become someday. But now that memory twists in your gut, sharp and unforgiving, because you know what came after. Don't you, Tronald? You know how their lives unraveled, how the laughter that once filled this place turned to silence. You remember the day that it happened, how everything fell apart, how they were taken from you because of choices you'd made, paths you'd forced them onto. And this little house, their sanctuary, it's as much a grave as any stone or tomb, a silent reminder of the lives they never got to live, of the father you couldn't quite be when it mattered.
I just stand there, Joe. I stand and stare at that little house, my feet rooted to the spot, like I'm afraid that if I move, the whole memory will shatter and slip away. The details are hitting me in waves. How the roof sags just a little on the left side, the way the wood has aged and warped over time. It's like I can see my boys here, clear as day, their laughter, the way they chase each other around that corner. Elendor always trailing behind, stumbling over his own feet, but never giving up. God, it's overwhelming. Like every good thing I ever did for them is right here, wrapped up in this tiny, forgotten place. My heart's beating so damn hard I can feel it in my throat. Memories keep crashing in. Too fast, Too many. And suddenly I'm not sure if I'm smiling or if it's something closer to crying. I can almost hear them, voices drifting on the wind, like they're still out there somewhere in the woods, waiting for me to call them home. But they're not. I know they're not. But they're not. I know they're not. And then I think of what Asmo Prime said, that he never found Aerith's body, just Elendor's, lying there, cold, lifeless, dead. But Aerith, oh Aerith, I can't stop my mind from spiraling, imagining him out there, somewhere in the dark, fleeing the city, lost in this vast, empty world, terrified, stumbling through the trees with no one to protect him. My son, my boy, all alone. No guards, no shelter. His father wasn't there. I wasn't there. I can't hold it in any longer. My knees give out, and I drop to the ground, feeling the mist curl around me. My fists slam into the ground over and over, hitting nothing but air and shadows. But I don't care. Damn it! Damn it! I keep thinking of them. I keep thinking of him, of Aerith, lying somewhere cold and alone, his last moments filled with nothing but fear, and it's all I can do to keep from breaking apart completely. I slam my fists again, harder, until my hands are shaking, blood pounding in my ears, my voice barely a whisper now. Why couldn't I protect them?
Damn, that must really suck, him seeing all this.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But it's one of them, isn't it? Sometimes you gotta get worse before you can get better.
Well, if that isn't the truest shit I've ever heard.
Joe, after a moment, I stand up. I look at the house. There's something pulling me toward it. I think I need to go inside.
Okay. You push yourself up from the mist-covered ground, your legs a bit unsteady but resolute.
I walk slowly toward the front door. As I get closer, I pause and listen. Do I hear anything coming from inside?
Roll a perception check.
17.
Okay. As you focus, at first there's only the soft whisper of the mist, but then faint and almost carried away by the fog, you hear it, a light, joyful laughter echoing from within the house. It's the unmistakable sound of children playing.
Wait, do I recognize that laughter?
Yes.
I call out their names. Aerith? Elendor? Do I get any response?
The laughter pauses for a moment, and then you hear footsteps scampering inside, followed by hushed whispers and a muffled giggle. It's as if they're playfully hiding from you, just like they used to.
I can hardly breathe. I reach out and try the door handle. Is it unlocked?
Your hand wraps around the familiar wooden handle. It turns smoothly, the door creaking open to reveal the warm glow of the interior.
I step inside cautiously, scanning the room. What do I see?
Inside, the house is just as you remember it. Sunlight filters through the windows, casting golden beams across wooden floors scattered with toys and books. The air is filled with the scent of fresh bread and wildflowers. Ahead, you catch a glimpse of a small figure darting behind a curtain, followed by more suppressed laughter.
Aerith? Elendor? Is that you?
The giggles continue, a light, breathy sound that floats through the stillness like music, as if the very air is alive with joy. You see a small pair of legs poking out from behind a heavy curtain, shifting slightly as the figure stifles another laugh. The fabric sways, disturbed by some unseen draft, and you catch the faintest glimpse of tousled golden hair, a flash of color.
I move closer, Joe, step by step, till I'm right in front of the curtain. I reach out and I pull it back.
You sweep the curtain aside, and there he is, Elendor, your youngest. He stands before you, face alive with that innocent glee you'd almost forgotten. The light catches his hair, his small, bright eyes fixed on you with pure, unrestrained joy. He opens his mouth, and you see the faint, excited shape of boo forming on his lips, but there's no sound. The room is silent, as if the world itself is holding its breath, too afraid to disturb the fragile beauty of this moment. Elendor's smile widens, eyes sparkling as he tilts his head, waiting for you to react, just like he used to, expecting you to scoop him up in your arms or laugh along with him. Yet, it's as if he's locked in a gentle, dreamlike state, forever caught in that single, joyous expression. The longer you look, the more the scene begins to shift, edges blurring slightly as though he's here, yet not here. Real, but something else altogether, like a shard of memory, left behind in the folds of time, held together by the last threads of your love. Your breath catches as you realize This is no ordinary memory. This is a piece of him, preserved, suspended, held in this place, in this vast, endless mist. Somehow, some part of him lingers, bound by the echoes of your power, or perhaps by the love that couldn't bear to let him go.
Elendor, my boy, I don't believe it.
Elendor's form flickers, shifting like mist in sunlight. He watches you with that same expectant gaze, as if waiting for you to join him in his laughter, his innocence untouched by the passage of time. He reaches out, his small hand extending toward you, fingers slightly transparent, like the memory itself struggles to hold on to the shape of his touch.
I reach out and try to touch his hand, Joe, even though I know I won't be able to.
You reach out, your fingers shaking, expecting nothing but air, but as your hand meets his, you feel it. Warm, real, so achingly familiar. His small fingers close around yours, solid and soft, fitting perfectly into the creases of your palm, just as they always did. It's a simple touch, yet it's like the world narrows down to this single perfect sensation, a spark of life against the backdrop of loss. The warmth spreads through you, filling a hollow you'd carried for too long, a bittersweet comfort that catches you off guard.
I feel my knees give way, and I fall, dropping down to his level. Gods, I pull him close, wrapping him in the biggest hug I can manage. My arms tighten around him, never wanting to let go. I whisper, voice breaking, "Oh, Elendor, my boy, my beautiful boy."
Elendor leans into you, his small frame fitting perfectly against yours, his arms looping around your neck, holding tight as if he's never letting go. He buries his face into your shoulder, his soft hair brushing your cheek, and you feel the steady rise and fall of his breaths. Like he's anchoring you, pulling you back to a place you thought lost forever. His heart beats against you, soft and even, a rhythm so simple, yet it fills the silence with a gentle, steady comfort. You close your eyes, memorizing every detail, the way his tiny fingers clutch at your cloak, the way his hair smells faintly of wildflowers and sunlight. The world beyond fades, slipping away into mist. Time itself seems to lose meaning, blending into a hazy warmth as you hold him. Seconds, minutes, hours, who could say? All that matters is the weight of him in your arms, the feeling of having him close, if only for a heartbeat.
I don't want to move. I don't want this to end. I just close my eyes and let myself feel it. Please, please let me stay here.
The moment stretches, endless and fragile, but then Elendor stirs. He pulls back slightly, looking up at you, his face filled with a love so pure it cuts right through you. And then, as if a spark of mischief ignites within him, his eyes light up with that familiar impish glint, and his mouth curls into a grin. With a gleeful little shove, he slips from your grasp, laughing as he darts toward the door. You look up, and there he is, arms wrapped around the legs of a figure standing in the doorway. The older boy is taller, his shoulders broad, his silhouette outlined in shadow, his hair black as midnight. Elendor looks back at you, grinning, hugging the figure's legs. Just like he used to, his smile as wide and joyous as ever. But the older boy remains silent, unmoving, his presence quiet but powerful, as if he's rooted to the ground, watching you, an unspoken familiarity hanging in the air. And in that moment, a chill tingles up your spine. It is both of your sons. Both of your sons are here.
I run up to them, my heart pounding, arms wide as I pull both of them close.
At first, the older boy, Aerith, stiffens in your arms, a hint of resistance lingering in his stance, as though he's not sure he belongs in this moment. But then after a heartbeat, he softens and throws himself into you with a weight and force that almost takes your breath away. He wraps his arms around you, squeezing, as if he's holding on for dear life, as if he too has been carrying this absence in his heart. His grip is strong, fierce even, fingers digging into your back as though he's afraid you might vanish. It's not the embrace of a child, it's the embrace of a son who has lived too long without this. Elendor nestles between you, small and warm, his arms tight around your waist, and for a moment it's like everything else falls away. No mistakes, no regrets, just the three of you together, bound by love and longing, as if this fragile connection is the only thing that matters in the world.
I've missed you, Aerith, so much. My voice cracks, the words catching in my throat. I'm so sorry for everything, for how I didn't listen to you, for giving you half a life. My voice breaks as the weight of years of regret floods through me. I tried to protect you, to save you, but if you're here, then my voice chokes with a sob as the fear that's haunted me takes hold. Is that confirming what I feared? What am I doing? You can't respond. Neither of you can, but you're here, and that's all that matters.
Oh, but I can speak, Father. And I have missed you too, truly. But do not let your thoughts linger on losses that are already out of your hands. What's done is done, and right now, right here, that is what matters. When I told you the way to reach this place, to go deeper, I never thought I'd see you again so soon. And yet, here you are.
What? How can you speak and Elendor can't? Are you alive? Where are you? How did you get here? Please, just tell me.
Aerith's gaze holds yours calmly, as if he anticipated your barrage of questions. He tilts his head slightly, letting a moment pass before responding.
Tell me, Father, do you understand what you did to Elendor that day? You didn't just get him killed. No, this went far beyond a simple death. He didn't die with dignity or peace. He died with a blade that ripped his very soul from any realm of existence. What you did was more than reckless. It was ruinous. He didn't merely pass into some afterlife. He became nothing, part of non-existence. In your grand design, your grief-stricken genius, you placed a fragment of him here. Just a piece of memory. Not Elendor himself. No, nothing so complete. But enough. Enough to live out your memories of him on a loop, replaying your version of him over and over like a song that never ends. How utterly selfish. What did Elendor ever do to deserve that fate? To be condemned to this fractured, torturous loop, locked here within a dimension where 100 years pass for each second you breathe outside. Every moment he exists here. It stretches for lifetimes. You caused his death, Father. You made it happen with your own blind refusal to listen. And then, instead of letting him go, you imprisoned him. Why pretend you care, only to make him suffer further?
But I do care. I did care. I cared about you two more than anything in the world.
Lies. You cared about people you would have never even known more than you cared about us. That's why you chased your ambitions with Valerius. Why you threw yourself into that cursed path. You chose them over us, Father. The moment you made that choice, you sealed our fate. You caused both of your sons, your own blood, to die that day.
Elendor glances up at Aerith, his small face filled with uncertainty, fear creeping into his wide eyes. Quietly, he steps behind his brother's leg, clutching the fabric, his trust in you slipping as Aerith's words sink in. Aerith doesn't even look down, his focus locked on you, unyielding.
Aerith, please. I didn't mean for any of this. You have to believe me. Tell me what I can do to fix this. I'm begging you, just tell me what to do. My hands tremble as I reach out, imploring him. Please, I only wanted to protect you, to make the world better for you.
Elendor glances up at you, confusion and hurt mingling in his young eyes, shrinking further behind Aerith, who watches you with detachment.
You came here for power, for knowledge, not to save him. Why do you care what happens to him or to me? You never did before.
Please, I'd give it all up, every ounce of power, everything I have, just to save you both. I wish I could go back, change everything, take it all back. Please, Just tell me how.
I've already told you, Father. There is no going back. There's no undoing what's been done. No path to erase the choices you made. The only path left is to keep moving forward. But I will tell you how to make things right. Elendor's soul is gone, shattered beyond any reach or realm, torn apart in the wake of your ambitions. Nothing of him remains, not his spirit, not his will. Only this fragment, this sliver of memory you chained to the bones of this place. To keep him here like this, it is a disgrace, a mockery of everything he was. Do you not see it, Father? This is torment beyond any blade, any flame. You think you're honoring him, but you've built him a prison, a hollow loop of the past, an endless cycle of emptiness. Release him. Set this fragment free. Let go of this twisted memory, or he will know nothing but eternal torment, trapped here in this stagnant, frozen existence. Free him, Father, or watch him suffer forever.
I make my way towards Elendor, Joe.
You take a shaky step toward Elendor, his small figure still half hidden behind Aerith. His eyes watch you, wide and uncertain, as if he knows that something final is coming, something beyond his understanding. His fingers clutch at his brother's leg, and a flicker of fear crosses his face, but he doesn't back away.
Elendor, it's me. It's just me. You don't have to be afraid. I take another step, reaching out my hand, heart pounding as if this were the last chance I'd ever have to touch him.
Elendor's gaze flickers, his small fingers loosening slightly from Aerith's leg. He takes a small, hesitant step forward, watching you with that same cautious trust he once had in you. He reaches his hand out, eyes locked on yours, as though he's finally ready to come to you.
I failed you, Elendor. I failed you in ways that haunt me every day. I dropped to my knees, reaching out to take his small hand, my fingers brushing against his. I'm so sorry. No words can ever undo what I did. The ways I hurt you, the ways I lost you. But if this can bring you peace, if this can free you, then I'll do it.
Elendor's eyes widen, his expression softening. He takes another step forward, reaching out with his small hand to touch yours. You feel it, a warmth fleeting and delicate, but real. His fingers curl around yours, and for a moment, it's as if he's fully there. Solid, like you're holding him as you did once before. The mist around him shimmers, shifting with an almost ethereal glow, as though the memory itself is acknowledging this final moment.
I know you may not understand, but this is the only way, my boy. You deserve to rest, to be free, not trapped here, not because of my mistakes. I love you, Elendor. I always have. I always will. And I'm sorry it took me this long to let you go.
Elendor's small face tilts up to look at you, his eyes shining with something between sorrow and gratitude, and he nods as if in understanding, his lips curving into a soft, almost peaceful smile. The mist around him grows brighter, more vibrant, as though this part of him, this memory, is beginning to unravel. Tronald, this isn't just a goodbye. This is a release, a letting go of everything that ties him to this place. You'll need to focus on the memory, on the bond you share, and use your magic to guide him forward away from this world. Roll an Arcana check.
Aerith, will I still remember him?
Of course you will. In here.
Aerith takes a step forward, reaching for your hand, pressing it firmly against your chest, right over your heart.
You may not have been the perfect father, but you were the best you could be with what the world threw at you. Elendor knew that. I knew that.
He looks up at you, his eyes fierce, yet filled with a glimmer of understanding.
What you are, what you've always been, is Lord Tanavir. Strong, flawed, stubborn. But there are things in this world, Father, things woven deeper than death or loss. There are ways to restore what's broken, even in cases like this. You may not know how, Not yet. But we'll find a way. Together, we'll figure it out. There are threads that can mend even what seems lost forever. And I will be there with you. Every step of the way.
That's a 19 total, Joe.
You close your eyes, letting the power flow through you, grounding yourself in the memory of him, of every small detail, the laughter, the warmth, the love that fills this place, even through all the pain. As you concentrate, you feel the connection strengthen, a thread of magic bridging the gap between you, guiding him toward release. Elendor's form begins to shimmer, his edges softening, turning to light as the magic courses through him. His smile remains unwavering, his gaze locked on yours as he fades. The mist brightens, lifting like a veil, and in that radiant moment, it's like he's more alive than he's ever been. Every fragment of his memory bathed in light. With a final, gentle glow, Elendor's form dissolves into light, merging with the mist as he fades from view. The air around you grows still, the silence settling like a quiet peace, as if the world itself acknowledges the weight of this release. The memory, the pain, the fragment, all of it drifts away, leaving you alone with Aerith.
There, I've released him, but I just don't understand what you mean, son. What do you mean you'll be with me every step of the way? Are you telling me you're alive? And is there really a way to bring you both back to me? How do you know all of this?
I've already told you, Father. Both your sons are dead. But unlike my brother, I am different. I can drift through the afterlife, traverse realms beyond the mortal coil. And Father, when one dies, when one leaves behind their name, their mortal shell, the knowledge that comes with it is beyond anything you could imagine. I know things that elude even the wisest in your world, secrets that whisper in the cracks of existence. But to bring this dream, my dream, our dream to reality, I need your help.
What do you mean, Aerith? Of course I will help you. Please tell me if there's a way to bring him back. Tell me where your body is. I'll bring you back too. I never thought this could be possible. You can't imagine how happy, how grateful I am right now. And this place, what is this place?
One thing at a time, Dad. There are many steps to this process, each one intricate, each one vital. To rush it, that would be folly.
He gestures to the space around you, the mist swirling in gentle obedience, almost as though it's waiting for your command.
This place, Father, this is your own creation, a dimension forged by your deepest self, unique to you and you alone. It exists within you, bound to you. Here, you are God of all that you see. Every breath, every thought, every atom bends to your will, if you but learn to control it. Elendor, the memory of him, beautiful as it was, acted as a blocker, like a circuit breaker woven into the fabric of this place, a final safeguard to prevent you from harnessing your full strength.
He looks at you knowingly, his words filled with something that borders on satisfaction.
But with that memory now set free, that barrier is removed. You can now access the full power of your creation.
Aerith steps back, watching your reaction, his face composed, but with a dangerous spark in his eyes, something that burns quietly, a subtle hunger beneath the surface.
And when one is the only deity, when there are no other gods to meddle, no hands to reshape what belongs to you, and you alone.
He lets the words trail off, a hint of a smile curving his lips. Finally, he places a hand on your shoulder, the touch both steady and grounding.
Now get some rest, Father. You've earned it. When you need to speak to me again, I will be here.
And with that, Aerith steps past you. As he reaches the spot where Elendor once hid, his hand stretches out almost absently, fingers brushing the edge of the curtain. The fabric slips between his fingers and he pauses as if feeling something left behind, a warmth, a memory, a trace of his brother still lingering in the fibers. He pulls the curtain close, the rough fabric caught in his grip, pressing it against his chest. His eyes lower for a moment, the faintest flicker of something deeply buried surfacing, a flash of tenderness, of overwhelming grief. And then slowly, he turns his gaze toward the window, his expression unreadable but far from empty. He looks out, his eyes fixed on something distant, something beyond this place. A faint haunted glimmer touches his face, like a man remembering something lost but refusing to mourn. He stands there holding the curtain close, his figure stark against the golden glow spilling through the glass. Silent, motionless, a quiet monument to what might have been. What could be again?
All right, Joe, I'm going to try to snap out of this meditative state.
As you focus on breaking free from the meditative state, the world around you begins to fade, colors bleeding into darkness until nothing remains but a void, silent and empty. Slowly, reality pulls you back, and you find yourself seated on the cool, creaking wooden floor of the airship. You reach up, fingers brushing the blindfold, and pull it away from your face. The sudden rush of light stings your eyes, almost blinding after the long darkness. Shadows dance in your vision as you blink, adjusting to the brightness, the familiar sights and sounds of the ship settling around you.
That was incredible. Still feeling the weight of it, the echo of Elendor's laughter and Aerith's voice. I can't believe they were there, inside of me this whole time, that there's a way, even the faintest glimmer of a way, to bring my boys back to me. My hand clenches the blindfold, fingers trembling, but then the thought hits, sharp and uncomfortable. But why would I have placed Elendor as a blocker to my potential? Why seal away that part of myself? I shake my head, a shadow of confusion creeping in. It just doesn't make sense. I glance around the airship, feeling a strange hollowness, as if a piece of me has been removed.
All right, Tronald. Just to let you know, you now have full access to Vitamancy. You have restored the section of your memory that will allow you to pick and choose spells from that school as you see fit if possible, just like you would with any other school of magic.
Oh, damn, that's awesome.
And what you just experienced wasn't just a dream, it was a ritual spell, Realm of Reflection, a level 4 spell, by your own creation. You remember only fragments of why you crafted it in the first place, and even those memories feel hazy, unfinished, experimental, almost as if the spell was a prototype, a doorway to something deeper than even you intended.
So what does it actually do?
You get the sense this dimension isn't just a sanctuary, but a mirror for your mind, a place woven with echoes and shadows, fragments of memory tangled together. It's a spell that holds power, yes, but there's something about it that feels off, like reaching into a dark pool and feeling something brush against your hand.
Well, I don't care what it is. It allowed me to speak to them again, to learn that there's a chance to bring them back to me, and that makes me very happy.
Nice. All right then. And that's where we're going to wrap up this session. See you later, guys.